What is good, everybody? Today we're going over how to backtest your strategy in day trading. Backtesting is essentially going back in time into the market and using your exact rules and strategy, whatever you want to call it, to basically see how a play would have turned out had you taken it in the actual live market. Often hear traders talking about they tested a strategy over a certain amount of time and they gave them like this percentage of profitability, or their win rate and their average RR was whatever to whatever. Basically how they test that is backtesting, and I'm going to show you guys exactly how to do it in this video. All right, very first thing you're gonna do is head over to tradingview.com, and in order to backtest on TradingView, you are going to need the essential plan to go into replay mode. If you don't have it, you can check if you have it by clicking on your little name up here, your little name setting, going to account and billing. Go to your settings, find account and billing, and then find all of your plans right down here. You're gonna need two things. First thing you're gonna need is the monthly essential plan. It's gonna be $16.20 a month, so it's definitely not gonna break the bank. It is absolutely essential. The next thing you're gonna need is this CME, CBOT, COMEX, NYMEX, CME group, whatever, you get the idea. This isn't necessary to backtest, but you do need it if you want to be viewing the futures price movements in real time. It's cheap. If you don't have it, you definitely need it, so go ahead and make sure you have those. After you've made sure you got the essential plan, we are ready to go ahead and hop onto the charts. So the three things you need to exactly backtest your strategy is going to be: one, the TradingView essential plan, like we just went over, the exact rules of a strategy. Now, what I mean by the exact rules of a strategy is knowing exactly where you're going to take your entry, like what you're going to look for to form to actually execute an entry for said given strategy, where your take profit is going to be in said trade with this given strategy, and where your stop loss is going to be. Now, that also includes everything else that is within your strategy, basically being able to just know exactly how you're going to replicate this trade as if it were the live market. Because what we're doing when we're backtesting is going back into time and replaying days and seeing how we would have done with this strategy so that we can then apply it to the live markets. If you don't know what I mean for the rules, if you check out my last video where I went over my personal strategy, you can see that I literally have a list of rules written out where I have the exact entries I take, TPs, SLs, all that other stuff. And then three is some kind of journal to write this down. You're going to want to take note of your win rate and your risk to reward ratio mostly. It's just good to look back on, especially if you're testing out multiple different kinds of strategies and ways of trading. Now in this video, I'm going to be using my strategy and basically using this video as an opportunity to kind of do a little backtesting session on my own strategy, and I'm going to show you guys exactly how I do that. Very first thing you're going to do after you have the essential plan, you're going to see this replay button up here, and when you click it, you're going to get this little thing right here. Now basically what this means is wherever I click on this chart, TradingView is going to cut off from that point on forward. So obviously right now in time, price is actually around here, but I just replayed it back to here. I'm on the 2-minute time frame. Don't mind all of these other zones that I have drawn out. That's a lot of zones. Now I trade on the 2-minute time frame 99% of the time, so I'm going to stay on the 2-minute time frame, and I am going to replay back pretty much to just a random day. So let's go back in here somewhere. And what I'm going to do is see on the bottom here, you can see our timestamp right down here on the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and find just a random day, and I'm going to go to 9:30, which is right when I start trading, which is right when New York Stock Exchange market opens, and I begin trading for that day. Okay, so boom, now we're here at 9:30 on Tuesday, July 9th. First thing I'm going to do after picking a random day, Tuesday, July 9th, is head over to Forex Factory. This is the source that we use to check news on the day. Now, the way that I trade, I do not trade around high impact news folders. So if, say, for on this day, Tuesday, July 9th, we're just going to find it on the calendar right here and see what news we had on this day. Okay, so actually on this day, Powell testified. So this is a perfect example. Make sure that you're checking your news, because this is actually a day that I would not have taken any trades simply because of Powell testifying. If you don't know who Powell is, he's literally the top dog of the Federal Open Market Committee, and when he speaks, the market moves. I remember this day. This was a rough couple of days while he was speaking almost every day. You can see right here, he spoke the next day, literally on that Wednesday as well. So I'm going to go ahead and go back on over to TradingView, and I'm actually going to just pick another day because I wouldn't have even traded on that day anyway. Here, we'll go all the way back down to, all right, we're going to zoom in, and we are on Tuesday the 2nd, so we're going to go back to Forex Factory. So yes, on this day, we had Fed Chair Powell. Wow, again, I literally, this is just my luck that I'm, and look at what we have. Let's check the news on this day. It's going to be right here, and you can see that right here we did have quite a bit of news. We also had 10 o'clock news, so we'll keep that in mind while we're doing our back test. But this is a day that I would have traded, so let's get straight back to the chart. I always like to mark market open with a little red line, just as I have here. You can either hold shift and hit the right arrow key on your keyboard, or if you come down right here and you click this little up button right here, it's going to show you the next candle where it opened and closed. So right here, after I click, that's the open, that's the close. It doesn't replay it in exact time, and if you click this play button back here, you can actually see the candles print kind of like half in real time, not in real time obviously because they're not ticking around, it's just kind of printing them one by one. I don't really like to use that feature. I kind of just like to click through manually and see what would have happened. So at this point in time, you should know exactly what you were looking for. When market opens, what I'm looking for right away personally with my strategy is a area of significant reversal to mark out supply and or demand zone. So whatever you're looking for with your strategy in the live market is exactly what you're going to be looking for when you replay a day on the chart. So every time you click this, it shows one more candle. So boom, right here, I am seeing that at this point, I would have marked out this area. As you can see that we came up, it had a little bit of consolidation and then kind of dumped off of it. Now I know that with my strategy, I am looking for now a retest of this zone and then a close back under it to take short. So let's see if we get that. All right, boom, looks like we've wicked into it. Let's see if we can get a red close below. See how I know exactly what I'm looking for now that I'm like, now, okay, now that we've tested this zone, now if the next candle was to, you know, test this zone again and then close below it, I would take shorts. That's the thing. You need to know exactly what you're looking for in these markets. You can't just be sporadically, you know, hitting buy and sell market and just hoping that things go in your direction. You will never be successful that way in trading. I promise you, trading is all a game of mechanics and it's a repetitive process. And honestly, once you get to know what it really is and how it really works, it's quite boring. And you just have to stick to your rules and do exactly what you know works for you and exactly what you know works because you have tested it as I'm showing you how to do so. Boom. I'm not going to be taking that personally because it's a doji. We closed. Little tidbit of information for newbies out there. This is what we call a doji candle. It's when a candle opens and closes at the same price, making a literal cross shape like that. You see how there is like literally no body on that candle. That is going to be what we call a doji candle. No, still looking for a red close for my strategy, and boom, we got one right there. Now I know with my strategy, my entry consists of getting in at the median retest of this, which would be a confirmation candle for me. If you didn't watch my last video where I went over my strategy, this will make a lot more sense how I'm doing it. But this is pretty much how you backtest. Like, you're pretty much just watching me do a raw backtest. Boom, first, here's our first entry that we get. I know exactly that my stop loss is going to be right here, one tick above that candle right there, and I know my TP is going to always be at 20 points. Now I have the trade set up. Pretty much I will get entered if price comes up to go ahead and hit this entry right here. So let's see what happens. Oh, looks like we didn't get filled. We didn't get filled, unfortunately, by literally, we didn't get filled by literally one tick on this play, which is extremely unfortunate. So we'll just get rid of that, and then we will go ahead and look for the next play. Also, for my strategy, by this point, I would have marked this out right here. So extended that back, give myself a better visual. All right, boom. I have another short entry right here. Let's go ahead and see what happens if we get filled on this play. Once again, knowing exactly where my TP and my SL is going to be. And then boom, looks like this play actually would have worked out perfectly for us. Looks like we just barely got filled and then we absolutely dumped, and this would have been a 20-point TP play for me. So now at this point in time, it's about 10:30 until I got my second setup. First setup was invalidated, remember, by hitting our TP before filling us. So now at this point in time, I know that on this day, Thursday, the 27th of June, I would have been up 20 points and 1 for 1 on the day. The rules of my strategy say that I sit at my desk until 11:30 and that after 11:30, I'm done trading. So let's see what happens. Boom, right here at 10:46, I would have got another entry for longs right here. Boom. See how I know exactly where my entry is going to be every time, and I'm not just like, oh yeah, I think I would have taken longs here. This is my exact setup that I would have taken every single time, and that is what you need for a successful strategy in trading. Let's go ahead and see what happens with this one. Boom, looks like we got stopped out on the next candle. Unfortunate, but it does happen. So I now know that I would be 1 and 1 on the day, 1 win and 1 loss right now at 10:48 in the day. Now I just keep pressing this button and I look for the next play. It's a pretty repetitive process, and you're going to be doing this over the course of multiple days. Now, what I mean by the course of multiple days is this is one day, right? One day of testing a strategy is not enough to tell you if it's going to be profitable over a longer period of time. What you're really looking for in a strategy is that it's going to give you a green return over the course of a longer period of time, such as a month, even 2 months, maybe even 3 months. Because at the end of the day, you're going to have losing days no matter what your strategy is. No strategy is going to hit 100% of the time. You can't just test a strategy one day. Maybe you could, you know how I said pick a random day? You could pick a random day where your strategy maybe went 5-0. Or on the flip side, you could pick a day where your strategy literally went 0 for 5 and you lost $10,000 on that day. Pretty much what you're going to be doing is repeating this process intraday as I'm showing you right now, and then you're going to be repeating this process over a longer period of time. So after this, after I test this day, I'm going to go to the next day, and then the next day, and then the next day. And 11:30 hits, I would have been done trading. So on this particular day, I would have been 1 and 1 on the day, 1 win, 1 loss, and I would have been up about 10 points. Now, how do I know I would have been up about 10 points? Well, if I take a look at my first trade, I can see that our target was 20 points, and that first first 20 points hit. Then I can see on our second trade that our SL was 10 points and our stop loss got hit. So pretty much what I'm going to do at the end of every single day that I backtest is pull out my calculator on my phone. I'm just going to add together all of the either wins or losses that I got in their respective point values to see exactly how much I was either up or down on said given day. So right here, first I took a 20 point dub. So I'm going to go ahead and type in 20 in my phone. And then right here, I took a 10 point L. So I'm going to press -10. Obviously, that's a math you can do in your head, but that is going to be a P&L of plus 10 points on the day. What you're seeing on the screen right now, right over here, is actually my journal that I keep in our Discord. Say you need a journal, you can either have an online one like this. I prefer just Discord because I like to type stuff out rather than actually physically handwrite it. Some people do like to handwrite it if you have your own handwritten journal that you like to use. I personally just like to type stuff out like this, and this is exactly how I journal my back tests. So right here, you can see up at the top, I wrote strategy, 2-minute supply and demand zone rejections, which is exactly what I just showed you. And then I have my rules. Remember, I said we needed our rules, knowing exactly where our TP, SL, all that other good stuff is going to be. I also went over this in my last video when I went over my strategy. So I have all my rules here that I just applied to that back test. What am I going to do? I'm going to say replay day 6/17/2024, trades taken 4. I'm going to write how many wins and losses I took, and I'm going to write my total points P&L right down here, which is what I just showed you how I calculated on my phone. So we can see on this day, this was the exact same strategy, by the way, that I tested in this journal entry right here. You can see on this day that I ended down 7.25 points. I also like to take a screenshot of the day. This is another reason I like doing this on Discord or just an online journal, is because you can actually take a screenshot and post it in there just for future reference to look back on. And then I just do this process over and over and over again. You can see I literally wrote the next day. You can see I tested another day. Then I wrote the date again, trades taken 1, and then I wrote my total points P&L, screenshot, boom, another day, back tested, boom, another day, back tested, boom, another day, back tested. And then after I do 5 days, I do a 5-day back test recap. Obviously 5 days is not enough. Like I was saying, you're going to want to do at least a month of back testing. Do 30 days of solid back testing using the same exact rules, same exact strategy, same exact everything, every single way, and do that back test for a month's period of time and see what the total points P&L is after a month's period of time. Find out the average RR. You can do the average risk to reward ratio by adding every single trade that you took in that month period all together and then dividing it by the amount of trades that you took. I'm just going to go out on a whim and assume that if you graduated high school, you know how to find an average. So right here, you can see that on a 5-day backtest recap, I took 13 trades, won 5 of the trades, lost 8 of them, had a win rate of 38.46%, and had an average RR of 2.05. Total points P&L being plus 11.25. What does this tell me after I've done my backtest and my journal entry 5-day backtest that I did? This strategy would have netted me a total of 11 points. Now, obviously 11 points is really not that much at all. I even wrote, is a relatively small profit for a week's worth of trading. However, green is green, and it could have just been a bad week for this strategy. Now, I obviously have more backtesting of this strategy to do, right? You can't just base it off 5 days. You can't just base it off 15 days. I would say the bare minimum amount of access to strategy in order to find out if it is going to be working for you in the live markets is 1 month. At the end of the day, the truth about day trading is that it isn't about posting up on the beach. I've literally seen videos of people on TikTok, like, I'm not even kidding you, sitting in a beach chair on the beach, wiggling their toes and shit, chart open on their MacBook, pina colada in hand. Bro, that is not trading. Trading is sitting at your desk 90% of the day, literally like this, waiting for a setup to happen and executing when your setup presents itself in the market. Trading is really a mental game. The more that you trade, the more you'll realize this and understand exactly what I'm saying. But obviously, mastery of the day trading skill and provides you with financial freedom for the rest of your days. It's hard, man. I've talked about it in my last video. Trading is really hard. It's going to test your gangster. I've said this multiple times, but I promise you guys, if you're backtesting an hour a day, really putting in the time and effort, like anything else, your goals will come to fruition. But that's pretty much going to bring this video to an end. That's all backtesting really is. It is not rocket science, but it is essential to finding out if your strategy is going to net you green over a course of a longer period of time. I hope you guys learned a thing or two from this video. If you did, make sure to drop a like on this video. Also, subscribe to the channel. We just hit 100 subscribers. My last video went absolutely crazy. The support has been absolutely just so sick from you guys, so thank you so much for that. With all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.